Welcome to Everyday Linux User. In today's video I'm going to show you how to set up audio and Bluetooth within the Debian virtual machine that we've been setting up. So here we are in my virtual machine. I haven't got any audio devices. We're just at the bit in the last episode of how to really install Linux. We tried some different browsers out. In this time we're going to do audio and we're going to do Bluetooth as well. And the reason for Bluetooth as well is that I haven't got an internal audio device on this computer, so may as well do Bluetooth at the same time. So we're going to install all the software we need bit by bit, but we won't bring it all together until the end. So start off, open the terminal. You can either right click and choose terminal, or you press Ctrl Alt and T at the same time. And the first piece of software we're going to install is PulseAudio. PulseAudio is an audio server that's available for Linux. There's essentially three, I believe. There's ALSA, which is the older version. Then there's PulseAudio, and then there's something called Pipewire that's more modern. The reason I'm going for PulseAudio is I find it works better when you're using window managers than Pipewire does, and I always find Pipewire a bit hit and miss, especially with the Bluetooth stuff. So here we go, sudo apt install PulseAudio. And the next thing I want is an icon to appear here that shows the audio icon, so that you can click that to set your volume, etc. So the tool I'm going to use for that is called PA systtray. So let's clear the screen. So sudo apt install PA systtray. So if I run that now, so PA systtray, and I've put ampersand at the end, makes it run in background mode. So I'm back at my terminal. You can see we've got icon here for the systtray. The next, now what we want to do is, so we're going to exit out of there because we're not going to use it yet. What we want to do is add that command to the IceWM startup file. Obviously if you're not using IceWM you don't have to do this, and actually if you install GNOME or KDE or Cinnamon, PulseAudio is probably going to be installed by default, but if you're using a basic window manager like OpenBox or IceWM, it's not going to be installed by default and you'll have to start it. So for IceWM, what we want to do is we're going to do echo, and we're going to do PA systtray ampersand, we're going to pipe it, and we're going to use the T command, and that's like an editor, and if I put -a it's going to append it, and we're going to choose the tilde, which is our home directory, /.icewm /startup. What that's going to do is add the words PA systtray ampersand to the end of the startup file. So if we go into .icewm, so cd.icewm and ls, you'll see there is a startup file. So if I nano startup, you'll see PA systtray is at the end. So Control X to get out of that. What we also need to do is change the startup to be executable. So chmod +X startup, and if we do ls now, you'll see it changes colour, and that means it's executable. So the next time you reboot your computer, the icon should appear down here in the bottom corner. The next thing I want to install is a volume meter. So on the little icon here, when you clicked it, you'd have noticed that the volume was greyed out. So what we're going to do is sudo apt install paview control. And the other thing we want is a meter that shows you how loud or quiet the volume is. So we're going to install sudo apt, let's clear the screen, and then we'll install sudo apt install paview meter. The next thing we need to do is down here, if you look at my devices, this is coming from my VirtualBox, you'll see my Bluetooth is a Realtek Bluetooth radio. So if we do sudo apt search firmware, type more, you'll see there's firmware for different pieces of hardware. So if we scroll down, you'll see there's some for Intel, so IWL Wi-Fi for Intel wireless cards, for instance. And you scroll down, and eventually you'll see one for Realtek there. So what we're going to do is install that. Obviously, you need to install the one for your own computer. So we need that for before I install Bluetooth. And now we're going to install Bluetooth itself. So if I clear the screen, sudo apt install Bluetooth. The next thing we need is the PulseAudio Bluetooth module. I can't remember what that's called, so let's sudo apt search PulseAudio. And you can see there, PulseAudio module Bluetooth. That's what we need to install. Sudo apt install PulseAudio module Bluetooth. And we should now be in a position when we reboot that everything's now installed that we need. So let's hope that's the case. Sudo reboot now. So I've rebooted. You can see we've got volume control here. We've got the volume meter, and it's defaulting to the stereo as part of the computer, but I haven't actually got any audio devices in here, so it's not going to work. So I need to get my Bluetooth working. So if we right click and go to the terminal, we can do sudo system control status Bluetooth. And you see nothing's happening because I haven't actually turned on my USB device yet. So if I go down here and go to devices, go to USB, and I choose Realtek Bluetooth radio. So now if I do the sudo system control status Bluetooth again, you can see it's running and I don't appear to have any errors. So let's make this a bit bigger. So now what we're going to do is we're going to install a piece of software called Blueman. So sudo apt install Blueman, and this is a graphical tool for configuring Bluetooth devices. So if we right click on the desktop, go to settings, hardware settings, Bluetooth manager, it's going to ask shall it get enabled automatically, so we're going to click yes, and now we need to search for some devices. I'm going to turn on a speaker. I'm going to click search, and you can see cylinder BT has come up. It actually took a couple of attempts. So if I click on that, I'm going to click trust, and then I'm going to double click. You see cylinder is now connected. So we'll close that and we'll open up a web browser. And what we're going to do is we're going to go down here and we're going to make sure the default source so the default sync is BT. It's still using the source as built-in analog stereo. So we're going to go volume control. We're going to go across here to configuration, and under output devices we're going to make sure this one's selected. So hopefully when we go to YouTube, we can start playing my last video, which was about 10 things the average Joe won't know about Linux. Welcome to Everyday Linux User. In today's video I'm looking at 10 things the average Joe doesn't know about Linux. So the first thing on the list is what Linux actually is. So a long time ago, back in the early 90s, a man called Linus... I'll stop it there. Hopefully you can hear that coming through the speaker. So if we go into the volume control, we can go into here and we can look at the volume meter. So if I start playing again, Mr. Valdis he started on what I guess was a hobby project, and he decided to create a new operating system. If you add to that Now you'll notice there's something else grayed out here. You've got the manager and the equalizer, so we can install those. So we'll go into the terminal again. Let's minimize the web browser because it's taking up a lot of the screen. So sudo apt install PulseAudio equalizer. So what we're going to do now is reboot. And now you'll see the equalizer is actually listed as an option. And that really brings us to the end of this video. I hope you've got something out of it. PulseAudio is easy to set up if you haven't got it installed. Just install the tools in the order I showed you. Bluetooth can be a bit hit and miss getting the libraries to work. You might get issues with AD2P sync. Some people, there's lots of different guides out there. I found doing exactly the order that I've done it here in this video made it work, and that's really it. So that's the end of the video. If you liked it, give it a thumbs up, hit the subscribe button, and I'll see you next time on Everyday Linux User.